Hello, everybody. It's Monday Night Therapy. John, I'm here. I don't know where Minnie is, and I haven't heard back from my Rutgers guy. So this might be the most ill-prepared show I've done in a while because I'm not very prepared. Wait, there's comments. Okay. Nebraska beats Purdue 28-10, and everybody feels bad about it. Or does not everybody feel bad about it? That's what I want to know. Because I've been seeing my connection with the world is social media, and that's probably a bad thing, but I don't live in Nebraska. I don't get out a lot. There you go. And my glasses are really glary tonight for some reason. What the hell is that about? Fred Tackle comes in with most ill-prepared show. Dang, yeah, that means it's down there. It's down there. Brian Barr. That's how good it's going to be. I can't even say Brian Bauer. Only here to find out if Minnie has any single friends. She probably doesn't. And then tonight, I did a really great thing when I was eating supper. Damn, this is glary. I thought a potato I was eating was too hot for my mouth, so I went ahead and swallowed it and burned the holy hell out of my throat. So that's what the night is being. Maybe this is going to be like Nebraska, where the first half of the show is going to be really just shit, and the second half is going to be like, wow, lights out. Or maybe only 15 minutes of it is going to be good. What do you guys? What do you guys think about that? I mean, Nebraska right now hasn't played, it seems like, a complete game, but we're still 4-1, and we're still 4-1, and that's 2 games away from getting to a bowl game that I'm thinking most people said they wanted to get to this season. Linda Wilkins says, so is this just going to be one of those old guy shows? Yeah, it seems like it. It looks like it right now, doesn't it? Let me check Twitter still real quick to see if the guy saw my instant messages, and no, he hasn't. So, boy, I was hoping to talk to a Rutgers guy tonight. But let's go back through the Purdue game. Let's go back through the Purdue. Can you tell I'm up for this? My God. Oh, my God. I'm looking at the game book for Washington. First of all, no score in the first half. I don't know the last time Nebraska did that, and I don't really care. Purdue didn't score at all. Then Nebraska scored 7 and then 21 in the fourth quarter, 28-10. The first half was probably about as miserable a game of half of football as I can remember watching. And it's a good thing that my memory isn't very good, because I'm sure we played, over the past few years, we haven't been that good at football. So there's been a lot of halves that haven't been worth watching. CV says some guy named Penalty had more yards than Purdue. We'll probably talk about officiating. Terry Sutton says in rules press conference, the problem is the long snapper. I made this point in my post game, and I think I've said this for the last couple post game. The instant reaction things. That whole thing has to be, a team. They have to be a smooth operating thing. The long snapper, the holder, and the kicker. That all has to be a timing thing. And when you have new kickers, I mean, Tristan Alvano is still kind of a new kicker. And then who is it? John Hole. I don't know what that does for their confidence when they see the snap coming up, or the snap rolling on the ground, and the holders trying to get the positioning right. And here's the key with that. You have to be able to, snap the ball. The hold has to be turned correctly, and the ball cannot be in motion when you're kicking it. In other words, it cannot be turning. It has to be stopped and still. Otherwise, if you're turning while you're actually kicking it, you're adding I used to know physics better than I do now, but, I got old and crusty and got out of context or something. But, you're adding a centrifugal force to it if you're kicking it while it's spinning. So that whole thing, they need to fix that, and I don't know what the fix for that is. I'm not a special teams coach, and maybe Ned Foley isn't either. Okay, that's really kind of nasty, but uh, I've seen. It is going to be hard to do this. I've seen a lot of comments about Ed Foley needs to be fired and stuff like that. I don't think you just fire a coach in the middle of the season, but Purdue fired their offensive coordinator today, Graham Harrell. And I think that somebody off that staff has to be fired, because only in Ryan Walters' second year are you seeing the, I follow all the other Big Ten people on Twitter, and the Purdue people are starting to get upset with how poorly things are going there. My God, there's a lot of comments. And Linda Wilkins says it's a new long snapper. Greg says it wasn't pretty, but being mad about a win is insane. People weren't mad about the 94 Kansas State game. That's a good point. I think that's the PTSD thing. Do we think that? I mean, the whole, we've seen this before, and we want. I'll ask this, and you guys can answer in the comments. Do you just want to be comfortable? I mean, when you're watching a game, right? Like 28-10. Let's go back and I got the game book over here. That's why it's so glary, is because this screen isn't dark. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I got the game book over here. The third quarter, and we're head 7-0. It was 7-3. I'm sorry. At the end of the third quarter, it's 7-3, and you've got that one score thing feeling going on. I know I did. I'll be completely open and honest about it. I had the whole, oh God, this is going to come down to a one score game. And I'm sorry. I'm dealing with comments. I thought it was going to come down to a one score game, and nobody wants that, because we keep losing them. And I did wonder at the time how many other people were having the same issues, the same kind of PTSD thing. John Hamilton Jr. says, greetings from Columbus, Ohio. Well, hello, John. How you doing tonight? Pit Snipe Husker says, what the fuck is Boiler Up? Is it a Purdue thing? Yes, it is. They are the Boiler makers, and, Boiler Up is like this thing that, they do to get themselves pumped up, I guess. Charles Hullett says there's an expectation based on how terrible Purdue was rep to be, and Nebraska was supposed to be in the middle of the pack, only gooder, and then the halftime score is 0-0. Yeah, there was that. I think our offense was doing decently, but not scoring. They weren't sustaining drives enough to get into the end zone. And we're going to flip over to college football stats real quick. You remember that site I took you to before. We're going to take a look at something very specific, and that is third down conversions. Where is Nebraska in this? Nebraska right now is 41st in the nation with a 45.76 percentage. And where is Rutgers in this? Rutgers is 17th in the nation. I guess I haven't gotten to Rutgers yet. Purdue is 97th. And that Rutgers is 17th in the nation with a 50.98 percentage of third down conversions probably should concern some of you, because that's kind of how they are winning games. Purdue's or Rutgers is going to come into this game. I keep thinking it's Friday night for some reason, and it's not. But I keep thinking that the game's Friday night. But Rutgers is going to come into this game undefeated, and it's going to be interesting. Nate Porter says, no negative from here. Last year's team would not have won that game. Progress. It's a rebuild that is actually working. Hang in there, folks. I agree with that. And, as I said, I'm ill prepared, but I think if you look from this season to last season, and you look at how big the turnover difference is, that is a mass. That is a massive amount of difference. Brian Bauer says, I think Graham Harrell had more to do with his firing than us. I agree with that. Yeah. Highlight. Whoop. Highlander Gun says, "Where's your buddy Zero at, Fred?" That was an interesting show last night. I don't know if you people watched, Greg and Haas and Jake. Uh, Last night they talked about, Haas is really good at breaking down offense and stuff like that, and breaking down games, and so is Jake. Apparently, I have really never met Jake or talked to him that I know of, but you should go back and watch that. They talk a lot about the what actually happened in the game, and I think one of the points I took away from Haas in that show was the interior of our offensive line really isn't that great. I don't think we're strong enough to block people up straight up one on one. And I think that's going to be showing. But as an offensive coordinator, like last season, Marcus Satterfield is going to have to figure out how to just score points. The good news was, if you watch that whole game, I think we gave up one sack for 8 yards, and the pass protection was pretty good. Most of the time, I don't think Purdue was blitzing a lot, but still, uh, is Dylan Royale is damn good at his short and medium passing game. He's not. He is not particularly great at the deep ball, and he needs to work on that. He keeps underthrowing people. He is throwing behind people sometimes, but on the other hand, my God, he's a freshman quarterback in his fifth game, sixth game coming up. Uh, that he's even this far along down the line is pretty impressive. Luke Teaser. I bet I butchered this name. $10 super chat. Thank you. I've been watching you forever. I've been watching forever. You've been therapy all through Scott Frost. Anyways, what's your true take about our special teams, and who's really to blame? How does two long snappers, two kickers have the yips? Who's really to blame? Well, I know it's human nature that we have to blame somebody for something. Uh, well, I would say the two kickers have the yips because the long snappers and the holders aren't. That is the third cog in the machine. And if the guys up front aren't doing any good, then you're back there, and as a kicker that if the long snapper and the holder aren't doing their jobs, that you are going to get all the blame for it. And I think that that's tough to take if you're a younger player and you're a first time player. Who's to blame? Well, at some point, we kind of have to look at special teams coaching and saying, what the hell are you doing? On the other hand, I think the other problem here is, what did we spend last year's offseason focusing on? I think we focused, Matt Rule and his staff focused on trying to get good skill position players. And I don't know if they went out and said, what we should do? We should get a damn good long snapper. Because who was their long snapper before Ortiz? I think he was pretty solid. But I don't know. Maybe they'll figure this out, or maybe we'll just go for it. Honestly, when they lined up to try to kick on what was a 4th and 3, I think me, along with everybody else in the planet, said just go for it. And I don't understand why they didn't. Dana Williams says the punter holder should not be making tackles. Gosh, excuse me. The punter holder should not be making tackles. Brian Machini is going down the field, and he's a pretty good tackler, actually. And I guess, I think Brian Machini looks like a guy that you're going to have to tell him no, because he looks like a determined guy that's going to go down there and, by God, here's the thing about a punter. You're probably punting the hell out of the ball, and then you look at your return team and saying, you're letting them get too much in the return. And my punts that are 40 and 50 yards are now net 30. And it probably pisses him off to no end. And so he's going down the field and saying, fuck you guys. If you're not doing this, I'm going to do it myself. And he's doing a good job of it. But yeah, you'd rather your punter wasn't doing that. Vince Watson says, punter getting his black shirt. Maybe they should give him one. Okay. You guys are with the comments are going by so fast, and I don't have a handler this time. So Vince Watson says, shouldn't HH be the holder? Heinrich Harburg's be the holder. So if there's a bad snap, maybe something could be done with it. Well, I think they're all trained. If there's are bad snaps, I mean, I know that they're supposed to yell. If there's a bad snap and he can't get the hold down, he's supposed to yell something like fire, fire, fire. And that tells the offensive lineman, particularly, that they're supposed to not block as if it's a field goal attempt. And they're supposed to start like attempting to do a run block or something like that. And they might have different signals depending upon what he's thinking about doing for the ball. It also might tell a tight end to release, like fire, fire, fire. And then the tight end knows, get the hell out there and try to get open or do something so I can get rid of this ball. So I want to say Heinrich Harburg is too tall to be a holder. I don't know. I never thought about holding. It's usually just the backup quarterback because, or one of them, because they're good at handling the ball all the time. Robert Vivarus says, fortunately, PATs have been good. That's true, and that would be a real nightmare if that was off, because you wouldn't be scoring. You wouldn't be keeping up, and you'd have to be going for two on a more regular basis. Let's see. What else we got going on? Brian Bauer says, based on his high school performance, Alvano was a great signing with good potential. I agree with that. I don't know what's going on there. But everything. Linda Wilkins says, I'm guessing this was fuck 3 times Saturday. Does that count? I think so, although that might be caught up in the regular game, It was a nice day on Saturday, so our screen door was open, and I'm sure my neighbors got their fill of the first half. John's watching football again, and they're doing really well. So, living in Omaha, David Matney says the fact that we're having this discussion is a major problem. I agree with that, but wait a minute. I did check somebody's last year. Let's see. Tiger Shark Driver says, hello, is this the Husker Love Connection channel? Well, no, normally, I try to be whatever you guys want to be, but I don't know if I'd be very good at that. Okay. There you go. Husker Chuck, this is the one I actually starred and I wanted to say something about. What were the 3 things that plagued the team last year? Quarterback play, turnovers, and penalties. Have they improved? Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Quarterback play has certainly gone up by about 60,000% compared to what it was before. Turnovers is vastly improved. They're taking care of the ball really well. I think Roger Moore said, what about no fumbles? That's another key part of this. Penalties. Should we go into this for a bit? Because it looked like to me that Purdue literally made a conscious decision to play pass interference defense. And, in the pros, obviously, you get a pass interference call and it's the spot of the ball and it can cost you 40 yards. In college, that's not the case. If you got a guy going down the field, you might as well just pull him down if he's open for a touchdown because it's better than scoring. So were they just that bad, or did they make that conscious decision to do that? And then Phil Spear says Big Ten officials are so bad. I saw somebody today on Twitter say something about, could we swap officials with another conference? And I think that, honestly, I don't think it'd make any difference. We're going to try a couple things. This glare is driving me nuts. What the hell? I don't think it would make any difference. I think officiating is really poor all over the place. So you could swap officials with the ACC or the Big 12 or the SEC. I think the SEC officials are probably better because they just don't call things. And I think that's the thing that you're seeing. I probably mentioned this before. I think that's the thing you're seeing with college football right now is they're throwing flags when they're not certain it's a penalty, and that causes game disruption. I mean, you saw if you watched the end of the Minnesota Michigan game, you saw a ref throw a flag for offsides when there wasn't any offsides by Minnesota. Now, other people have said, well, the ball didn't go far enough and the Minnesota touched it too early. Well, that wasn't the call that they made. So, Highlander Gun says the refs robbed Minnesota. Yeah, they kind of did. And the other Dave says, got you on our big screen with the grandparents, wife, and grandkids. Love your channel, John. See Raiola's gestures to the student section after the Barney TD. I did. I think these guys are, yes, I think these guys are very good with how they're handling themselves on the field. Matt Rule got a unsport. By the way, thank you for your support. But I think these guys are, what the hell was I going with that? Oh, Matt Rule got an unsportsmanlike, which he threw his headset down. He wasn't on the field. If that's all he did to get a penalty, that's a little weak. Bo Pelini years ago would be screaming at those guys, and I'm sure he was telling them how much he liked their flower gardens. But I think that if you're not saying the F word directly in official's face and saying things about his mom or his wife, you probably should let that stuff go. Tiger Shark Diver says somebody has to fight for Nebraska. I agree with that. I think Matt Rule is that's fine with me. If it's kind of like a basketball coach getting a technical sometimes. Sometimes you need to do that to to wake things up or to make a point or things like that. All right. I'm 23 minutes into this thing. My Rutgers guy we're past the time he should have showed up, which is kind of unfortunate because I really wanted to talk to somebody about Rutgers because that is our next opponent. We're 4-1. I think there was a lot of talk about us being 7-0 going into the Ohio State game. That seems to be, well, I think Illinois. Did anybody watch the Illinois Penn State game? I think if you watched that game, I think the biggest thing that I took away from that game is Nebraska's offensive line needs to be a lot better than it is right now in order for us to get into the upper echelon of the Big Ten. And the other key thing that's going on right now is apparently the Big Ten and the SEC are having meetings about how they're going to wrangle the college football playoff into making sure that they both get 4 guaranteed spots for automatic qualification, something along those lines. So I think I said that when we started having a 12-team college football playoff, is if you want to be in the playoff, you need to be in the top 4 of the Big Ten. And who would we see who is that right now? It's Ohio State, probably Penn State is up there. Indiana, are they up there? I don't think they've played anybody, but my God, they can score. Oregon, you know what I mean? USC probably playing a little bit better than Oregon, although they struggled a little bit with Wisconsin in their first half last week. If you want to get in that top 4, I think, like I said, Illinois, Penn State, watch that game. Penn State's defense was very, very good. They didn't have the problems that we did against Illinois, and I think Illinois got us off balance with our secondary, where they were able to complete passes. Illinois did score a touchdown with basically the same play that they used against us, where they snuck their tight end out. But I think the biggest key there was Penn State's defensive line kind of controlled the trenches. In fact, Penn State controlled both sides of the ball in the trenches. And I think that's the key for Nebraska to get to that next step, is the offensive line needs to get that much better. Is that going to happen this year? No, I don't think it is. I don't I just don't. I think that's going to be something we're going to have to get guys with more experience, get better players, probably maybe better coaching. Who knows? Okay. Linda Wilkins says the Illinois loss was not the worst thing to happen in Nebraska. It was at the time, Linda, for God's sakes. Let's see. Phil Spear says Rutgers more like Butgers. Am I right? Well, not this time around because they are undefeated. Dang. Linda Wilkins also says if USC football is no better than the USC volleyball team, may not be that big a deal. Well, I hate to disappoint you, but I think our volleyball team is that much better than pretty much almost everybody else's volleyball team. And I think USC in the first, I was surprised that Wisconsin I think it was 21-10 at half. Wisconsin leading, and then Wisconsin didn't score like a point the rest of the game. And they really just did not look good in their second half. So if you want to feel better about yourselves, but USC, I think, is playing. USC has their offense. Miller Moss, I think, is a very good quarterback. They're going to be tough to stop on offense. I don't think their defense is unbeatable, but that game's down the road a ways, and it's in California. I wonder how many of you are going. It'd be a really beautiful. That would be a really neat game to go to. Linda Wilkins says, John, is that is like saying the volleyball team's loss to SMU is a bad thing. Here's the thing. I don't think you can fairly compare these sports. And the reason why you can't is because volleyball losses they matter in terms of ranking, but they don't matter early in the season. And the reason that you've seen John Cook in the past use really good games against really good teams in volleyball to get his lineups figured out and to figure out how he's going to play against some of the best teams in the nation, which are in the Big Ten. In football, you kind of have to be perfect. Like I said, if you're going to be in that top 4 of the Big Ten to get into the college football playoff, what's your record going to be? Is it going to be, does it need to be 10-2? If you're perfect, you're going to be up there, obviously. But can you get to that top 4 echelon with 9-3? That's going to be the key. So you can't just have losses like that. Oops. You can't just have losses like that. And, on the other hand, if they're a wake-up call that gets their shit together, maybe it's not bad. And that's probably what you were going for. Last year, if you remember, against Michigan, we played so poorly that Matt Rule was like, this isn't happening again. And he made everybody come in on Sunday and practice. And, I think he got his point across. Paul Dalen says 10-2 minimum, 11-1 gets you in. Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I think that's where you want to be. Nebraska has 1 loss now. I've seen a lot of people after this game say like the game. I don't know if these are trolls. I assume most of them are trolls. The people that are like, we're not going to win any more games. We're going to go 5-7. We're going to be 6-6. This team could barely win. And I've talked about this before, where I call this broken family syndrome, where you only look at your family and think your family is so dysfunctional, or there couldn't be anybody else around like that. Well, Wisconsin has issues. Rutgers had issues. You're joining me. I hope you're ready. Your mic is not on.
Hi, I'm on. I'm on now.
Yeah.
Well, I've been working on a little surprise.
A little surprise. Okay. My Rutgers guy didn't answer my DM, even though on Friday he said, yeah.
Oh.
So I don't have a Rutgers guy showing up, but it is time to start going into Rutgers. And
okay.
Did you watch Rutgers Washington?
Yes.
And what do you think?
Like they won by 3 by a field goal, right?
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah.
I have the game book up. 21-18. Not a high scoring game.
No, that isn't. But
But
if it was anybody's game, it seemed like. There were so many good games this weekend. Gosh,
yeah,
I'm going back to that one. Um, I especially like the Georgia and Alabama game. Sorry, I know that's not what we're talking about, but that was so
it's
good.
okay. It's okay. Well, you went there. You started down that path. Just keep going.
Okay, down Georgia. Which path? Because I'm like this.
Let's do Georgia, Alabama. That game was amazing. That had to be one of the
Ah,
most amazing games in the past few years.
yeah, it really was. So, I watched the whole game and I was really surprised that, the score was so low. And then right at the end, it was like there were 3 minutes left or something, 6 minutes, and all of a sudden, what was it? Georgia Alabama was in the lead, and then Georgia went down and scored twice,
Yeah,
and they were within, like, striking distance to win the game.
yeah.
It was amazing, and then finally, Alabama pulled it out, and you could hear the crowd just going wild. It was so exciting.
It was, and that kid, the seven, what is the guy's name? Ryan Williams, the receiver that made that move.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
he's
he
so
did a
cute
spin
too.
move in the middle of a running down the
I
field. It
know.
was just, here we go. Tiger Shark Diver. I haven't spun like Ryan Williams since I was 10 in gymnastics. It was insane.
That was
Uh,
NFL quality for sure.
Linda Wilkins says, "Well, Minnie, happy birthday. Must be nice to be 29.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Are you 29?
Congratulations. Look at what I got for my birthday. Check this out. You see it?
Oh my God. It says Husker Talk with Minnie. Is it
Is
really your
that
birthday?
funny? Yeah.
I didn't know
Yep.
that. Did I know that?
No. But, you don't need to know these things. And,
How
it's
do
the
they
last
know when
day
I
of
don't know?
September. I don't know. Because I told them.
Okay.
But we're
Okay.
working on a really cool thing. I can't wait to show it to you. But it has to wait till
Oh,
the end.
okay. Okay.
Because it's
Back.
also your birthday. It's also
Is
your
it?
birthday. This is your 100th show.
Oh shit! It is. Really?
Yeah.
That's
So
a
there's a
lot.
little surprise. There's a surprise at the end. You're going to love it. But
I'm late. I'm letting all the horrible things I was going to say just die away, so I don't say them.
oh gosh, not
Anyway.
you too.
Anyway. Tiger Shark Diver says a custom hat. Holy sheep dip. There you go.
I know. I'm like big time.
And then he says, I'm taking John to Europe for his birthday.
Nice. Very nice. And look at somebody
Pitt's
thinks it's your 100th birthday. Sorry, I clicked on this thing.
Oh my God. Okay, back
I'm
to
sorry.
Rutgers and Washington.
Okay, Rutgers and Washington.
What struck you
Yes,
about that game?
focus. You already talked about the other game.
Well, we kind of went through Nebraska, Purdue. We can put it behind us. You guys can talk more about
Okay.
it Thursday, but I'm ready to, it's in the past now. I was ready to talk about
Okay.
Rutgers tonight. So,
Well, all I know is that, they're getting better and they have an awesome coach that's been doing this a whole heck of a long time. So we just better come prepared. Um, Greg Sheehan's, I can't ever say his name.
Schiano.
Schiano.
Greg
Schiano.
Schiano. You could
Sounds
sing
Italian.
it. Sing it.
Greg Schiano, we're coming for you. Don't know.
Okay. Good. Is there anything that struck you about the Washington Rutgers game?
Just that it was so close and it could have been anybody's game. And quite honestly, I thought both teams looked beatable. I don't think anybody looks that great in the Big Ten, to be honest.
Wow. That is, well,
I did.
everybody has flaws. They do. I think
They
Ohio
do.
State, we haven't seen them challenged yet, so we don't know what their flaws are. But that's a very good point. Every team does have flaws, and it's a matter of whether or
Mhm.
not they're going to play. Uh,
Oh, yeah, that's right. Washington had 521 yards of
yes.
offense. That was huge. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah. That was the one thing that stuck out to me
Yeah.
let's see, come on. Will Rogers went 26 of 36 for 306 yards, and they rushed for 211 yards. I mean, Washington had special teams problems. What they were 1 for 4 on field goals. They
Mhm.
couldn't score, and you know the thing is that Rutgers gave up a shit ton of yards. But again, remember what I have always told. When I started, remember what I started talking about this season. What counts? What counts?
What
What
counts?
counts? What counts?
Uh, the
I'm waiting
refs?
for you to. I'm waiting you for you to fill in until I get to it.
I'm
What counts
trying to
is
remember.
what counts is scoring
Oh,
defense.
oh, I know, no, no, don't tell me. Oh gosh, dang it! I was almost
For
there.
all the stats, what really counts is a scoring defense. Right now, Ohio State's #1 in the country. Nebraska is number 9th with 12.2, giving up 12.2 games or points a game. So on defense, it's scoring defense. It's always going to be scoring offense too. But there are ways to look at that about saying where are your holes or where are you causing problems. So Nebraska,
Okay.
let's look at where Rutgers should be way up here too, if I remember correctly. Hold on a second, and
I
I'll look it
wonder
up.
where Rutgers is. That's what
Rutgers
I
is
care about.
Rutgers is 29th at 16.3 points a game. So it's still not that huge a difference. But 12 to 16,
Yeah,
that's
kind of
if
is.
you were going to predict this game, you would predict Nebraska 17, Rutgers 13 or 12. That's how you'd predict it. But
And if I remember right, there were quite a few penalties also
is that right?
in the Rutgers Washington game. Do
Yeah,
you
I
do
I
you have
I
that
wonder if
stat?
well, hold on.
Because I
No.
think we had a
No.
total of like 19. No, there weren't.
Wait a minute. I'm looking at the problem with the game book is it breaks things down by quarters, so you have to make sure you know what
Yeah.
you're looking at.
Husker Chuck
I want to
thinks
say
the the game's going to be close, 17-12. That's a low scoring game. Jeez.
let's see. I think it was they're 6-4.
So
Wait, I'm
10
still not.
total.
Uh, I'm looking at it by quarters. Go on to something. I'll look it up.
I'll go on to something.
Okay.
Nebraska is a 6.5 point favorite with a 43 over under from Linda Wilkins. So we are favored.
Yeah.
It is our homecoming.
Is it?
I'd be scared to play in Lincoln. Yeah. It's a 2:30 game. It'll be fun.
Okay. One of the other concerns that we should have about this game is red zone conversion. All right. You get into the red zone, you want to convert to touchdown, you want to score points. Nebraska did not. The game against Purdue, we should have had a lot more points. One was taken off touchdown was taken off the board by a really kind of a silly ass penalty. But I think we're just going to have to accept that penalties are going to do that in games. Guess where Nebraska is in third down or in red zone conversions nationally?
I would say we're pretty low because of the last game.
We're 105th.
Damn it. That is
Damn
so
it.
that's disgusting.
It is disgusting. Guess where Rutgers is?
Where?
101st.
Okay.
So that's a percentage of how often both of those. That is ranked by how often you scored getting into
Mhm.
the red zone. I think that I already
So
think,
what you're saying is there's a chance.
yeah. Okay. The other thing is maybe I already brought this up. I'm already in the point where I don't remember 10 minutes ago. Third down conversions. If Rutgers is going to win this game against Nebraska, the way that they're going to do it is by keeping Nebraska's offense off the field. Just like Illinois did. Illinois went on drives and they sustained drives. Okay. So that's about third down conversions. It's about getting in third and manageable and converting those third downs. So where do you think Nebraska is in third down conversions?
I don't think we're very high either. I'd say hundreds.
We're not that bad. We're 41st.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh, thank
Rutgers on the other hand is
Rutgers
17th.
is
17th.
Oh, dang.
And if I remember correctly, Rutgers has what's the guy's name? Kirk Karoka, something like that. He used to be Minnesota's offensive coordinator, like
Yeah.
3-4 years ago. And Minnesota under him was very adept at sustaining drives. So I got to imagine they have that same philosophy at Rutgers right now of sustaining drives and stuff like that. And the key for Rutgers, I think, in sustaining drives is going to be running the ball with Kylie. Come on, what's the guy's name? This is where I did such a shitty job of preparing. Kylie Monogamy.
Yeah, you and I, we have issues with people's names. Oh my goodness.
His name is Kyle Mahogany.
Mahogany.
It's not. It's Kyle Monogany. And he is a senior running back. He currently has 97 attempts on the year for 589 yards, averaging just over 6 yards a carry with 6 touchdowns, averaging 147.25 a game. And that is going to be really, if we're going to stop Rutgers, if we're going to beat Rutgers, we're going to have to stop, I think, their run. We're going to have to slow that guy down and get them off the field. And that's probably, I think that's the key to Rutgers. Also interesting is that Rutgers quarterback is Aiden Kalianakis.
Yes.
he was Minnesota's quarterback last year. So, I think I would say he did not live up. He was not that good for Minnesota last year. And so he transferred to Rutgers. And I think, they're undefeated. So he's been doing good so far. Let's take a look at him real quick.
Yeah.
Aiden
Kaliakmakis, something like that. He might add a few syllables in there that weren't there before.
It's Ethan. I never got his name right last year either. He is a completion percentage. Okay. 59 of 96 for 761 yards. It's lower than Nebraska, obviously. 61.5% completion percentage, which is pretty good. 7 TDs to 1 int, 7 to 1 interception, touchdown to interception ratio is pretty good. He has a rating of 150, which is really good. And Fred Sacco says it's all Greek to John, and it kind of is.
150.
Andy Harris says just call him the Greek rifle or something like that. Well, I hope he misfires a lot this weekend. There you go.
Okay. I've been starring comments for you, John.
Have you? Good, because I need to stop looking at the other comments because I get off.
It gets confusing.
Evanception. Wait, Evanception. Isn't there a band like that? That's Evan Sense. Yeah. And John, it's pronounced Manungai. Kyle Manungai. Wow,
that I thought he was making fun of the name.
No, I don't think so. I think he's got it right. I think it's right. Manungai. That could be a swear language. That could be a swear word in a foreign language. I hope it's not a swear word this weekend. As in, you Manungai, son of a bitch. That kind of shit going on.
No kidding. Okay. I call him the Athens arm. The Athens arm.
There you go.
Ooh. Ooh. That sounds like a serious nickname. And TSD gave it to him.
Terry Sutton has to wait. Terry Sutton has to be old school guy because he says any player who commits an unnecessary roughness penalty should do the Oklahoma gill against 5 offensive linemen.
What's the Oklahoma drill?
If I remember the Oklahoma drill, Terry, if you're still here, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If I remember the Oklahoma drill, it's when you and another guy, you had to basically lay on your back. The coach would blow a whistle. You had to get up, and either he had the ball or you had the ball. Normal, I never had the ball. Nobody ever gave me a ball. But you pretty much had to just one-on-one beat the shit out of each other, and whoever, got the other guy to the ground was the winner. I mean, it's literally a test of manhood kind of thing. So if you're doing that against 5 offensive linemen, they would kill you and crush you into the ground.
So TSD said it's basically 2 players fight 1v1. Is that it? So
pretty
did
much.
you see the pre game drill that Matt Rule added? Is it like that?
Yeah.
Like to the death? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think they fight to the death. They have scholarships, for God's sake. But no, I mean, it's pretty much I'll tell you what, I'm going to say, like Terry Sutton, people that know the Oklahoma drill, when I saw them doing that before the game, I took it as a very bad sign.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I took it as they're not ready to play this game. They don't have energy going. That's the kind of thing where you put guys against each other to like, it's very tribal. It's very, let's beat the fuck out of each other kind of attitude. There are a lot of people that think that nobody should be doing Oklahoma drills anymore because they can be so unbelievably vicious. Yeah, you sure as hell don't. I would say NFL teams don't do them because those guys get the shit beat out of them anyway. My family plays fantasy football, and I think like most of my bench is already out. You know what I mean? So you wouldn't want to do that at the NFL level. But when I saw that, I thought we have a problem with the beginning of this game, and that's why they're doing that. And Matt Rule made some comment about kegs and eggs in football. I think I think his team was more like, no, we want to start at noon. So they did.
I do too. I think it was an early game for us because we haven't played an early game. And it took Matt Rule literally getting a penalty for them to get fired up.
Do you think that happened after that?
Yeah, that's what happened. We didn't start doing anything till the end of the 3rd quarter.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Linda Wilkins says, many just a beauty tip after you turn 29. Frowns tend to stay longer.
I'm trying to frown. John, are you frowning?
No, I'm trying to smile. Do you remember we were taking pictures when we were in Colorado? I couldn't smile. I know I don't.
Yeah.
Every smile, I'm like the guy in Up, which is why I don't wear dark glasses anymore because I got that shit all the time. Whenever I smile, I go like this. Or it's some kind of, and it's the downturn. And I'm like, what the? And then I do. I look like the guy, the main character in Up. If you remember that?
It looks painful.
Yeah. It just, it's not very good. Fred Sacco says Kyle Naugahyde sounds like the rival of Clint Eastwood. Well, I hope he's a non-factor. What else we got up here? What else did you put up here? Wait, John Hamilton from Columbus, Ohio says, Nate, this was earlier, Nate, progress is not always linear. This is true. Would you rather have a coach that started out great but fizzled out Pelini? And I think that he makes some good points there.
Oh,
okay.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know.
Pitt Snipe Husker, no, Minnie, it's a drill banned from most of football in the classic way with the two staying between tackling dummies. Ball carrier tries to get past the other. That's what we did. Is you had a very limited, let's say, I don't know, maybe 6 foot between two tackling dummies that were laid flat. One guy had the ball,
Mhm.
one guy was the defense. You're both laying on your back. The coach blows the whistle. You get up, and the ball carrier tries to run your ass over or get around you, although he can't go outside the tackling dummies. And you try to, tackle him and manhandle him into the ground. So that's kind of what it is. Now, I don't, they obviously, when they were on the field before the game, they didn't have tackling dummies laid out, and they didn't have nobody had a football, but it was still the same concept. You two go at each other, and we'll see who ends up on the ground first, who's taking the other guy down. And
I mean, I
it's
don't have a problem with that. Do
well,
you?
It's not I don't think it's something you do before a game unless you're like trying to tell your
Okay.
players, get your fucking asses in gear. Maybe
Okay.
did anybody ask Matt Rule about it?
No, and I've been waiting. Why
Well,
haven't they asked?
because I don't mean to be rude to the sports writers, but I think a lot of them just really don't understand football or something. They don't know it to that level, or they don't know that it's,
Mhm.
you know, and I'm not going to say that I'm an expert at it. Most of my expertise has been spending a lot of time talking to players that, played in the NFL or played in college. And I think one of the things that always struck me was this idea of getting yourself into I think it was during the pandemic, I interviewed Jamarcus Hardwick for a while, right? Yoshi came on and I did interviews with him. And I think one time he told me, Yoshi is about the nicest, kindest person. If you see him in real life, if you're around him, he has a beautiful family. He's the sweetest guy on earth. But on a football field, you have to become the most vicious fucking serial killer. Maybe not hurt anybody, but if you don't play with
I see.
some level of sheer violence, you're not going to be any good at it. And he's been playing in the CFL and honestly has been a CFL star for years now.
Oh.
But he told me, there's just a thing that you have to have something that puts you into the mindset, whether some players listen to specific songs that get them there, or some people literally have, when I walk onto the field and I cross that white line to begin warm-up drills, is literally when they switch their personality from I'm nice guy, Mr. Next door neighbor, to I'm going to fuck you up. I'm going to rip all of your intestines out and eat them in front of this crowd, kind of thing. You know what I mean? They just have to switch their mentality.
They
Okay.
turn into a different person. I get
Yeah,
it.
they do. And they have to.
That's their football persona.
Yeah.
I get
I
it.
mean, if you think about it, you got linemen that are 6'6", 320 pounds. It's a vicious game and it's a violent game.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I saw him doing the Oklahoma drill type stuff, I thought, what are they doing this for? They're trying to get themselves going. And and it was obvious from the first half. They just kind of like, man, we'll get there. It's okay. Yeah, whatever. Oh, look, they're going to try a field goal.
Mhm.
I don't think the defense really was that way, because I think the defense is ahead of the offense in terms of having people that are going to, you also have to have those guys on your sideline that are going to go, or in the field saying, what are you going to do? How are you going to keep accountable? How are you going to keep in this game? By God, if you're not ready to be out here, get the fuck off the field, that kind of shit. John Bullock is probably John Bullock in the field looks like a guy that's probably that guy, or Ty Robinson. I don't know, but
I think they're all that way. I think for sure it's John Bullock, Ty Robinson, Gifford, Marcus Buford Jr. That's just 4 guys just on the defense right there that are keeping other guys in line. I've seen it. They'll take guys aside on the sidelines and they'll be like, yelling at them.
Tiger Shark Driver says at least John and Minnie can sell a hair conditioner line. Yes, we could.
There's still hope. There's still hope. It should be corn scented. Sweet corn scented air conditioner.
Just the sweet corn, or the smell of it with butter and salt and pepper.
butter and salt for sure. Maybe it should be edible. I don't know.
Oh, I'm gonna
Uh,
check one more time. Nope, they've never seen my DM. That's too bad.
those jerks.
Well, maybe you could have them on Thursday
Absolutely.
if we hear back
I
from
mean,
them.
I say yes, but you know, I don't run things around there. I try, but
Greg
just
says
kidding,
I
Greg.
need therapy. Greg says I need therapy. Excuse me. CornNation hair products. I don't, I've only just begun how to figure out how to sell things that it require me to collect taxes. So, uh, did we cover this one?
I hope Nebraska can live. Oh no, this is one thing I wanted to talk about because,
Okay.
well, we sort of did. We sort of did, but because we talked about how many penalties we had in the last game and how many Rutgers didn't have. Well, they only had 10, right? And we
Right.
had 16. Or no, we had how many penalties did we have? I forget what you said, 19?
A gob. We
It's
had
a
a gob.
lot. It was a lot.
Yes.
It was
It
a
was a lot
lot.
of penalty.
I'm so sick of this. But some of it is not necessarily our fault. I mean, very little of it was even false starts
Right.
this time. So I'm really happy about that. And you kind of have to, kind of categorize the penalties, see which ones are the most important ones.
I haven't seen anybody do this. And what I mean by that is no national writers or anything. Yeah, I would love to see a comparison of like how many penalties have been called across the board in the Big Ten throughout all the games played so far compared to last year or the year before. Because I gotta
Mm,
believe, maybe they changed their pay structure where they're getting paid per penalty.
that
Because
must be it.
I mean, as a consultant, listen, as a consultant going into a company for the first time and having to meet with and talk to customers that I'd never met with and talked before, one of the first things you needed to figure out was what were their incentives? How are they being paid? What do they get a bonus? Do they not get a bonus? Does their boss really care if they do this shit or not? You had to figure out what is your incentive for doing what you're doing right now.
I
And you
get
had
it.
to kind of figure that out without directly asking him because that's kind of rude and a lot of companies didn't like it.
Mhm.
But
So what you're saying,
why are the penalties? I'm just guessing. Why are there so many more penalties, or why are there so many penalties being called now?
so I have an idea about that
Okay,
based off of what you just said.
yeah,
Maybe they are trying to show their worth because as we know, college football is changing. It's always slow to change. But, there's all these things being talked about behind the scenes, like AI helping ref games, putting like a GPS type chip in a football, things like that. And maybe they are just trying to show that the humans are, they're the best thing about the game. I don't know. But also it can be the worst.
that's true. Okay, where do we want to go next?
Um,
Uh,
well, did you take the comments I started?
There's one. There's one.
Okay, Nebraska sports fan says, "What is your take on Nebraska being the favorite?" -7.
Well,
Mm.
Illinois was a 19-point underdog to Penn State, and they lost 21-7. And I got to believe that's because I don't think the odds makers, they usually know this stuff pretty well. Otherwise they wouldn't be in business. I thought 19 points or whatever it was, the Illinois Penn State strip spread was ridiculous. But what you saw toward the end of the game was Penn State started wearing down Illinois by keeping their defense on
Mhm.
the field for a lot of the game. And then it was a fairly close game until the end. And then Penn State just basically overwhelmed them. So I think number one, you always get 3 points for being at home, which really means we're a 4-point favorite.
Mhm.
I think when you look at this, I don't know. Here's Paul Dalen says this: Rutgers started with Howard and Akron, two really not good teams. Virginia Tech and Washington were okay, but not much better than what we've played. Virginia Tech lost to Vandy. If we don't beat ourselves, we will win. I agree with that assessment. What was I going to say here? Something cued something off. You know what? What's
What?
Colorado's record right now?
They're like 4-1,
Yeah,
3-1. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We taught them a lesson, I guess.
Maybe we did because who was it? Who was it they beat
They learned
last
how to
week?
win.
UCF.
Yep, it was UCF. Yeah. That
So
was kind of
maybe
crazy.
maybe
It
maybe Deion Sanders is a really good coach.
you know,
Everybody's going
as long
away.
as he knows as long as he learns his players' names, I'm sure he is. You can't be above the players. That's all I have to say. It drives me nuts.
Nebraska Strong says the spread is way too high. I assume you mean the spread of the Rutgers Nebraska game. I don't think it's too high. Here's the thing. I think Nebraska's offense hasn't blown the doors off anybody yet. But I think when you look at the components of it certainly has the potential to do so. And the reason it has the potential to do so is we have a quarterback who's a freshman. I don't want to say phenom, but he's damn good, especially at the medium and short passing game. He surveys the field like he's a veteran at the college level. We have receivers that are, I think, pretty exceptional. Nair, Banks, Jalen Lloyd is really only he's barely had any balls thrown his way, and he could still outrun most people. Malachi Coleman, we haven't even seen him. Thomas Fidoni's played pretty well, other than getting called for a penalty that got brought back because the referee apparently scared the guy so much he fell down. I don't know. That's pretty awesome. But I do think that when you look at our offense, we have the potential to be a very, very good offense. And when I say that, I mean like getting to play 4 quarters, we can score a good amount of points. And I think we could do that to Rutgers. Are we going to do it? I don't know. I don't want to say they're holding back, but I think that they're figuring out, like I said earlier about Marcus Satterfield, he has to figure out what his offense can do, what they're good at. I think that, they're going to figure it as they're going on, they're going to get better. That's, if they don't get better, then, that's where the coaching problems come in. That's where you say we have a problem with coaches, So I don't think the spread's too high. He also says Rule laid an egg against Illinois. Nebraska Strong says Rule laid an egg against Illinois. Yeah, I kind of agree to that to a certain extent. I think they were outcoached. I think the team was outplayed. I think they believed their own press clippings, but
it worried me.
It's in the past,
Yes, we're moving forward. We're not going to be disgruntled. We're gonna focus on what's next. And what's next? Husker for Life wants to know, what is the Rutgers defense like? If they are mediocre, I think Dylan tears them apart. And we do know that he's a defensive, that's how he got his start, was coaching on defense. So I'm sure it's pretty strong. I really don't know what they run there, though.
Well, like I said, we did the scoring defense earlier.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
Did.
Rutgers is 190.
Wait, real quick. What? Did you take the super chat earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Rutgers right now is 99th in rushing defense, giving up 172.75 yards per game. And in passing defense, they are 36th, giving up 179.5 yards a game. So they give up yard. Put it this way. If you had the complaint, if you were a person that looked at like Northern Iowa and said, well, our defense was exposed, they gave up a bunch of yardage. Well, then you should be happy about playing Rutgers because they're giving up gobs of yardage too. And again, both of these teams, Nebraska and Rutgers, are doing a good job of maybe giving up a lot of yardage, but not allowing other teams to score. So, I'd say that's what their defense is.
Mhm.
I think if you go to On the Banks right now, which is the SB Nation Rutgers site, I think you're going to see. Let's go check it out. I think you're going to see an article. Here it is. Rutgers football. Where is the pass rush? It's right on their front
Oh,
page. So if you want to go to
I like that.
onthebanks.com and read that article about where's the where's the pass defense, then or where's the pass rush, then that might give you a good clue as to where their defense is.
Well, that's helpful to know because, we know that we'll be passing for sure.
Uh,
Be ready to watch our receivers have an epic game then, hopefully.
Charles Hellett says in the first hour, we're probably not going to go much longer because I'm old.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you. I burned the hell out of my throat before I eating supper.
What did you do?
Well, I
Oh
thought a
my
potato
god.
was hot for my mouth, so I went ahead and swallowed it, which is, the kind of dumb shit stuff I do. Charles Hullett says in the first hour, no chat about the volleyball team taking care of USC and Batenhorst getting a warm reception in a losing effort. That was really nice
Mhm.
to see. Did you see the TikTok? Did I
No,
posted
I
that?
didn't see
All right.
the
Well,
TikTok.
there was a TikTok of Allie Batenhorst with getting together with a bunch of Nebraska girls. Who was it? It was
Mhm.
Kennedy Orr, I think, Alexi Harper, and they were like
Oh, I did see it. I
doing
did
her
see it.
hair, and they were all having a good time. I guess, which
That was
by
so
the way,
cute.
nobody ever does that with me. When I go see guys, they never go, "Oh, let's do your hair," and they flip it all over the place and start braiding it and shit like that.
But
Because
John,
if they did,
next time, I'll make sure to bring my daughters because they love to do hair. You'll have all kinds of braids and curls, and you won't know what to do with yourself.
here's the thing. To Charles Hullett's comment about volleyball. Josiah Alec, I think it was today, tweeted out something about, how volleyball was, people gave Allie Batenhorst a warm reception. Okay.
Mhm.
And everybody cheered for it. It was really nice to see. She got a little emotional. And it was, I love Allie Batenhorst. She's a wonderful player. I think she understood what everybody else does. If she's still at Nebraska, she'd be fighting for playing time. If she goes to USC, she played the entire match. So there you
Yeah.
go. But Josiah Alex said, why did Allie Batenhorst get such a warm reception? But Chucky Hepburn, right? Do you know who that is?
No.
He's on
I
Omaha. He's an Omaha guy that went to Wisconsin to play basketball. But when he comes back to Nebraska, everybody boos him. And Josiah Alec is, why does he get booed compared to Allie Batenhorst? And she gets everybody cheering for her. And
there
I
must
thought
be a
that was a
reason.
really, first of all, I'm going to miss watching Josiah Alex play basketball for Nebraska because he was a ball that was fun to watch. Secondly, my response, and I did respond to him on Twitter, is I think that the difference between that is a difference in culture between volleyball and basketball. Volleyball is still, I mean, when you look at it, right? Basketball is a fairly mature sport on both the women's and the men's side. And the women's side is,
Yeah.
because of Caitlin Clark, I can say that now because she's not at Iowa anymore. That's getting a lot more prominence. And the sport is growing at the professional level, I guess, and it's growing at the college level. Volleyball is a sport that really just now, is starting to explode. You put it on ABC and people watch it, and they're starting to realize, my
Mhm.
God, this is a beautiful, fast game played by
It
like
is.
Amazon women that are so athletic. It's amazing. You watch Andy Jackson jump up into the air, and it's like, my God, could she take on Shaquille O'Neal? Probably not, but you know what I mean?
Good.
So athletic and so fast and everything. I think the difference is everybody in volleyball, when you listen to coaches talk and when you listen to players talk, everybody wants to grow their sport. They don't attack each
Mhm.
other. They
Mhm.
don't get angry at each other, and they're always very respectful, and I think that carries across to the crowds and the culture of the game. I can't remember Nebraska volleyball ever booing an opposing player. We don't like Wisconsin, we don't like Texas, but I don't think we ever boo them either. even though we hate them. Could I say hate? God, I
Yeah.
hate them.
Well, you know
Yeah.
why? It's because we are such a classy fan base. We really are. I
Well,
mean, we
okay.
are.
Now you're just pandering.
Maybe not you, John, but the rest of us are.
Okay. All right. So there, Charles, we talked about volleyball. I think the AVCA rankings came out. Nebraska is number 2 right now. It's early in the season. It's nice to be ranked high. It doesn't really matter that much. Again, it's a sport where you play. You try to do your best to win your conference and get into the best seed you can in a tournament that then is going to be it's everything. The tournament, NCAA volleyball tournament, is everything to the entire sport. We've taken too many comments from this guy. Nebraska strong. I think John should go with the mullet and handlebar mustache.
I do too.
You need to realize something in that. I had a punk rock mullet in the 80s. A handlebar mustache.
Gosh.
A handlebar mustache would, you actually have to take care of that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. You have to do this with it.
Yeah. See, my whole thing is, I've never worn earrings. I've never worn a necklace. I don't have any tattoos. It just all that stuff just seems like work. You know what I mean? Well,
You
the
and I are the
tattoo
same,
part,
John.
the tattoo part is, I don't believe in tattoos because they can make you identifiable on a police lineup. So,
That's true.
You shouldn't,
And
kids.
if you ever, not that I've ever had to think about this, John, but I'm not surprised you have.
Well, you should think about, I was a Boy Scout leader for 17 years. What's the Boy Scout motto? Do you know?
I forget what it is, but I do love Boy Scouts.
Be
What is
prepared. Be prepared.
Yes.
Right? And one of the things you should always be prepared for is to run away from danger, run from the police, whatever it is.
Oh
But,
my God.
the tattoos, they just, if you look at me and I could take my glasses off, I could just put my hair over and somebody would say, what do you look like? You look like a really old homeless guy, probably a drug addict. But if I had a tattoo, then they go, well, he
had a tattoo.
Yeah, there you go. All right. What else we got?
I have no idea.
Roger Moore says Rutgers strength run pass. It'll be run with Kyle Monoganogue. Kyle Monoggy.
Phenomena.
Monongai. Phenomena. B. Chris Christopherson passed away.
I know.
Does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, he's a fantastic songwriter.
He was a very
One
beautiful
of the best.
songwriter. Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up listening to
that he wrote Janis Joplin's what was the song?
Me and Bobby McGee.
The last song. Yep,
Yeah.
the last song she sang.
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible? It's like
one of my mother's 2 favorite songs.
Yeah, I love that song. Yes.
Okay.
Chris Christopherson.
Wait, E Bliss Reseller says Rutgers doesn't turn the ball over in grounds and pounds. And that's, we have to, I think Matt Rule did mention something about the fact that we do need to start getting more takeaways, and that would be really nice. Andy Harris says there are no punishments for the bad refs. They're supposed to be reviewed, is the thing. Is every official is supposed to go through a review process after games. They get graded, and then the better ones get to go, well, we're going to have a college football playoff. Where are those officials going to come from? Well, they're going to have to be the best of the best. And that I would advocate that we need to get rid of conference officials. I know a lot of people don't think the NCAA is capable of doing anything, but the NCAA should take over officiating and, structure it in such a way that officiating is the same freaking officiating across the board. So the calls in the SEC are the same calls being made in the Big Ten and the Pac-12 and the Midwest Conference and all that stuff. And I I don't know why we have conference refs anymore because it's getting really
Yeah.
shitty. My other problem is I don't think they care. I don't think the people that are running the game care about that because I don't think they care right now about the product on the field. And in some ways, maybe they're right because you watch Georgia, Alabama play a game that was an instant classic that people are going to be talking about for 50 years. But imagine if they'd have called some kind of penalty during that last pass
Some
play.
bogus. Yeah.
You
That would have
you
been
spun
horrible.
too much spinning, right?
What is this,
And
ballet?
the
Yeah.
entire nation probably would have gone and said, "We need to burn this shit
Mhm.
down." And they didn't, probably because the officials, I think in the SEC more than any other, know that they need to keep their flags in their pockets unless they're sure about something. I'm
That's
going for
exactly
that.
right, John. Let them play unless it's absolutely necessary. Just let them play,
All
right?
right. There are no punishments. All right, I covered that. They're supposed to be. That was my point there. We should finish. All right.
John.
What?
Okay. Um.
Greg says, "Hey everyone, I don't know if this has been addressed,
Mhm.
but tonight is the 100th Monday Night Therapy, which is hard for me to believe. God, time just
It's
s-
true.
flows like a river to the sea,
I'm
to the sea, and
I'm
it's
gonna change some
gone
things a little bit.
forever. Gone for.
Hey, John.
Sorry, I probably killed
I,
people with that.
I hope this works. Okay. This one. Okay. I put together a little ditty for you, John.
Oh my God, it's
This
9
is a
minutes long.
compilation. It's short. Just. Oh, whoops. I had to speed it up so I could get on the show. Sorry. Let me just go back to normal. Are you with me, John?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Here it is.
Are we supposed to hear sound?
You don't hear sound?
No.
You don't hear sound? Shoot. How do I figure that out? Oh. I didn't plan for that.
Okay,
Oh,
turn that up. Turn
God.
that up. Now press play. Press play.
I did, but it wasn't you don't hear it.
I'm not hear sound. I don't think. Is anybody else
Oh,
hear sound when that plays? By the
no.
way, I am really crappy at doing
Okay.
anniversaries,
Well,
things
you know
like that.
what? Yes, you are. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm sorry, you guys. I'm gonna have to just put it on our YouTube page
Okay.
for you to watch. It's a wonderful compilation of John in his notorious, I don't even know what to call it, to be honest. I wouldn't say rants necessarily because I don't wanna just label it. You have some really heartwarming stories as well.
Okay. Wow, you put together a compilation. That
Mhm.
was a lot of work. I'll look at it. We'll come up with the title.
Okay, sounds good.
Uh,
Let me remove
wait.
it.
Okay.
I don't know how to do that. Greg's not here helping me.
A- Aaron Keene says Jesus H. Christ, was that a lawnmower running over a bag of cats or something? That was a really horrifying rendition of an Alan Parsons song. Uh,
Oh,
Time keeps flowing like a river, to the
yes.
sea. Gone forever, it's gone forever.
How come
Anyway,
how come he doesn't
okay.
have any good songs except for that one?
Oh my God, Alan Parsons is, he has some very good songs. It's just if you don't like Alan Parsons, then I can't help you. Okay.
Yeah. I like his
Uh,
one song.
okay. Highlander Gun
You
says, but
should take a
John's not
couple more
normal.
comments.
Okay. Where am I doing?
Yeah.
Highlander Gun says, John's bathroom. That's definitely in the movie TSD.
It's a movie. I
Oh.
made a movie. It's so wonderful.
Phil Spear says, best rants. Husker Chuck, his ramblings. Do I ramble? Pitt Snipe Husker says rants. Apparently I do. I
You
didn't
kinda
tonight. I think
connect
I would.
the dots, though, for some people. It's kinda nice for some people who can follow it. Hey, I've
Okay.
watched you all day. Okay, this is
Okay.
what I've been up to all day.
Oh my God, that's kind of horrifying. Minnie, Husker Life for Life says Minnie is a great addition to the show, but whatever happened to Todd? Just curious. Well,
Great
Todd, I
question.
think Todd just got burned out. Honestly, is the only thing I can say about that. So
Yeah.
that's well, probably again. I'm glad Minnie's here to help. Minnie has always helped with the
Yeah.
comments. I think I do better with somebody else, so we're gonna see what
Mhm.
what happens going forward. I always say that. I would like to have guests most of the time because I like
Yeah.
talking to people. So it is kind of unfortunate that the Rutgers guy couldn't show up, and maybe we'll see if we could get him on for your show Thursday night. I'll see if I can still get in touch with him because I think it's fun. You know, like when we
It
talked to
is.
James Williams about UCLA, I thought that guy, and even the Colorado guys, it was really fun to talk to them and get their perspective on their fan base because, or we could have gotten Rutgers' perspective on, how they're doing so well. And maybe they'd share some things that we never even thought of or, history or things like that. Bill Spears,
Mhm.
Rutgers guy, ever say why? No, I think he just I didn't. Part of that's my fault. I contacted him Friday morning, and then I just didn't contact him again till uh, early this afternoon. And I don't think they checked their Twitter as much as I do or something. So maybe they just forgot. Uh, let's
Mhm.
see. Aaron Keene says, I think the Huskers are battling mental demons. Much improved, but not all the way there yet. Takes time. You know, Can I be the old man yelling in a cloud for just a second?
You can just remember that Aaron Keene is related to a Husker football player.
Well, and
He was one of the stars on this
okay,
last game.
here's the thing. I think, how do I put this? I should really go back and in Milt Tennisper's book, was it Milt Tenniper? It was either Milt Tenniper. I think it
Yeah,
was pretty sure it was Milt Tenniper, who basically stated that you have youth in a program. The youth really doesn't. Dylan Raiola, as good as he is, he has parents who played at a level that can tell him what it takes to be a champion. If I
it's
had for
true.
some reason, they probably wouldn't have been my kids, but my wife would have said, yeah, they're your kids, but they're suddenly athletic. I don't know how that happened. But, if I
Yeah.
had a kid that was so good, he was a Division I football player, I don't think I'd be able to tell him the same thing. So when you show up from coming out of high school where you probably have been easier, things have been easier for you, and you show up to
Yeah.
college and it's Division I, or you show up to the NFL, you have to learn what it takes to actually be really good. And that means putting all the
It's
work
true.
in the classroom and the weight room, watching film, all the things that are required to be an exceptional athlete. And that goes for everybody on the football team. And that if they're not all doing that stuff, then you kind of get what we saw in the first half against Purdue.
Mhm.
You see a team that's kind of like, well, you've seen this from teams. And if you're involved in
I
youth
have.
sports, you see it a lot where
Yeah.
somebody just goes, yeah, well, that guy will take care of that, or that guy will play. I can depend on Dylan. He'll hit that pass and we'll be fine. I can take this play off, that kind of stuff. I think there's
Mhm.
still a lot of that on this team because while we have built more depth and we built more talent, we don't have it everywhere yet. And we don't, while we can have some leadership, we still don't have that across the board. And that's the kind of stuff that just takes time. That's why they're always saying the C word, culture. And that's why Muskuka, another name I'll butcher, that's probably why he's suspended. We don't know the story behind that, but he's probably got some problems where he just isn't living up to whatever they're keep trying to make everybody live up
Absolutely.
to. Oh my
That's
God,
exactly
Zero's
right.
back.
We came up with an alternate to, culture. Team lifestyle.
Let's see. Belinda says, John,
No
you never had those.
comment.
What's that?
It's okay, nothing.
Uh, I'm going down. I'm falling.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
I
running
do
out of
that. I
energy.
do that all the time.
John, you never had those types of parents where you were coaching soccer. Well, it was kids soccer, and it
While
was
you were
roughly
coaching soccer.
right.
Yeah,
But
while
we
you were
didn't.
coaching soccer.
That was, as a youth coach, I think the biggest thing that you can do as a youth coach is not make kids hate sports. Like you've seen videos, you've probably seen videos of little kids in helmets running an Oklahoma drill. Nobody at a youth level should ever be doing that to little kids. That's just fucking awful. That's really one way to make a kid who's like 7 years old say, I never want to play sports again. And fuck you, Dad. When he's 17, he just says, fuck you. I'm not doing any of this shit ever again. So
Well, you shouldn't, as a parent, you shouldn't be the one making your kid play a sport. Number one.
well, you have to. It is some, you kind of, yeah, you do. What do you mean, why?
What?
I'm like, come on, Minnie. Come on, Minnie. If you left little kids to their own things, they'd be eating like Fruit Loops for every freaking meal and dress as Batman everywhere they go, even though their clothes haven't been washed for 6 weeks. The kids don't get to decide what they get to do. I think you need to listen to them and pay attention to whether or not they hate what you're making them do. But you should have your kids in sports. Everybody should be putting their kids in some kind of sports.
Just so you know, John,
yeah.
Whoa, hold up.
Do I need to come to your house?
No, I have 3 children and I am busy with sports 6 days a week. Club sports have taken over the world. It is insanity. Nobody needs to do club sports at 10 years old. And that's what they're doing. They're doing it younger and younger.
Roger Moore says, right, look at this. Roger Moore says, I am having Fruit Loops right now. He probably never had his parents put him in sports. That's probably what happened to Roger.
They never made him.
Do I need to come to what sports are your kids involved in?
Soccer, and then my youngest does cheer.
Okay. Well, they need to learn how to be physical. They need to learn how to be part of a team.
I agree. I think those things are great to teach a kid, but what happened to the days of just doing a school sport? Like, that's okay. I think that's perfectly fine. That's great. Then I don't have to take them to and from practices and games.
Evanception says I bowled in high school. Does that count as a sport? LOL. I think it does. It's technically a sport. Fred Sacco says Johnson should do cheer.
Do you know any cheers, John? I could have my youngest teach you.
Oh, well, maybe. Yes, I know cheers.
Okay, give us one.
Fuck Iowa! Ah, there you go. That's the cheer. You mean like an organized cheer?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
God, I've never been the,
Come on, really? I'm so surprised. You seem like you're so coordinated.
There you go. Here's Roger Moore. Give me an F. That's the cheer I know. Although Roger's probably going to spell Fruit Loops. Okay. All right. What? Are we done?
I think we're good. Yes, I'm going to get this uploaded to YouTube. Look for it, and we'll get it up hopefully tonight.
Aaron Keene says, yelling at people to get off your lawn is not a cheer. I don't ever have to actually do that. There's 2 reasons for that. You've seen my dog. She's really big, and she barks at anybody that comes on our lawn. And secondly, you've seen my dog. She's really big. If she gets off her chain, then she runs over anybody that comes on my lawn. So, Andy Harris was one of my favorite ones from high school.
Who did it?
You know that?
He did it.
Who did it? He did it. Who did it? Don't do it again. That's a basketball cheer, if I remember correctly. When you get called for a foul, that's what we would yell at people. And then
we have so many cheerleaders in the chat. This is awesome.
Phil Spear is fuck Iowa. There you go. Highlander Gun is Esther Dog Love. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Charles Hullett says John just gives a stern look. Sometimes I do, but people don't really take me very seriously when I do that. Phil Spears says everybody liked this vid. Where was that?
Oh, thank you, Phil.
I lost it.
Yes.
Okay. We keep going because I still don't know how. After 100
Wait,
episodes,
I have a
still don't know how to
question. Can
properly
you
end the
ask?
show.
Can real quick answer me this question? Riddle me this. Just use
Yeah.
Noonan. Miss it. What happened to Maverick Noonan? Is he on a? Is he? Because he redshirted last year, didn't he?
Oh. You know what? I don't know. That's a name I haven't thought of for a while. Is he
I was just
still in the
thinking of him
roster?
yesterday. Yeah, and Rule just mentioned Quentin Ives this morning too. I haven't thought of him, and Ethan Nation just disappeared. Who knows where
Right.
he is?
Well, we have a lot of players. And
These
honestly,
are
we
people
have
that he's talked about
right.
a lot.
Well, I don't know.
Okay, thanks. Pitts Snipe knows. Jason Reeves, I mean. Maverick is 3 deep on the depth chart. Good to know. And Maverick is played from James Boardman. Okay, good to know.
Okay.
Been worried about him.
I want to say there was something I missed. Okay.
Here's a good one. Ready? We can use this one to close. Ready?
Nuts and bolts, nuts and bolts. Oh, we're going to do it again.
Nuts
and bolts.
1, 2, 3. Wait, no. Wait till I count. 1, 2, 3. Nuts and bolts.
And bolts. Nuts and bolts. We got
screwed.
We're gonna have to work on that. The homeless guy with a heart tattoo on his ass seen from mooning the entire crowd as he streaked across the field in a cobbie corn banana hammock. I think the whole mooning thing, you can't do that anymore. You get way too much trouble for that. That is one thing we ruined. Old people ruined for younger people is you can't get away with shit now.
That's the problem you have with that comment?
Yeah, is you can't get away with things.
Okay.
All right.
Not that you have a heart tattoo on your butt or that
I know.
You're a homeless guy. You're wearing a banana hammock. Nothing like that bothers you. Just
not really.
Okay.
Yeah, what the hell? It's just a moon. For God's sakes, get over it. Okay. See, they keep coming in with comments.
It just keeps happening.
Okay, we need to go. Good night, everybody. Thank you for the support. Please like the video. Tell your friends, come and see us. And I don't know anything else. Good night, Minnie.
Good night, John.